This is season 4, and I am on a mission to help creatives become the most loved versions of themselves. I want to help you step into health in every single area of your life and pursue the authentic creative expression that you feel called to and that only you can. The world feels crazy right now, and we need healthy creatives more than ever. So let's get into it. I'm Courtney Lancaster, and this is the Heal Create Podcast. Welcome to the Heal Create Podcast. This is season 4. I almost did 2 hands with 4. That would be 8. This is season 4, and this is episode 1. And I took a short break from podcasting and thought I might take a longer break. And then I just had this idea over the summer that I'm so excited about. And I knew I needed to get started kind of right away. So here we are. It's September 1st. And the podcast this season is going to coincide with something that I'm doing on social media, which is called 9 months to your most loved self. And what that means is every single month, I am going to be teaching and speaking and posting on a different element of the emotionally and spiritually sustainable creative life, all the way from like, who am I? What do I want to create? To healing what's in the way, to actual self-care, emotional and trauma hygiene, and relationship health, physical health. And then finally, at the end of the 9 months, we'll talk about what it really means to step into your purpose and how to actually do that. So if you get my newsletter, which you should sign up for my email list if you haven't, because it's I'll be emailing you guys every week, and it's all going to be kind of a part of the same theme, all connected. Excuse me. And I am actually really excited because writing feels really fun. It feels like a place where I can be honest and more connected to you guys. But if you do get my newsletter, then you'll know that I kind of went on a journey this year of, well, as far as my business goes, I've been kind of ideating for a while about where I want to go with my business. And I realized this year, as I've been authentically, genuinely stepping into more joy than I think I ever have in my life, along with all of the other, life is still going to life all over you. So all the triggers still exist, all of the sensitivities, all of the creative swirliness, and all of my, relationships are always moving and changing, and we're growing together, and life is still life, but I'm here and I'm present. And what I've noticed is that I just feel so joyful, so much more, just so happy this year. And I kind of realized that I was asking the wrong questions around my business when I was trying to just come up with what I want to do next, how I want to run this business of helping creatives and helping people heal emotionally. And I realized that the question should be, how can I serve? How can I serve? If I wasn't worried about how to make money, if I wasn't worried about how to scale, if I wasn't worried about any of that, the question really would be, how can I serve people? And almost immediately, I knew that I wanted to give everything that I've learned from my own 10-year journey through panic attacks and depression and just massive anxiety for years. And just as profoundly, a deep stuckness around my own creativity, combined with then getting, trained and certified and working with people for the last 5 years. I wanted to just give everything away. I just wanted to say everything that I've learned and make it as organized and as practical and as accessible as possible. And so that's when this idea of like the school year being like our school as creatives. I love a school year. I think September 1st is just as much of a New Year's Eve for me as January 1st. And then January 1st, I'll always kind of refresh. But September 1st is when my kids go back to school. September, our rhythms are just so different. They're so lazy. We're traveling. We're just so low key. Our standards drop a little bit for just like how clean the house is, and even like the food we eat and the things that we do. We're just a little bit more fun oriented. But when the school year starts, it's not a bummer. It's a great opportunity to get focused on like, what are we doing this year? My oldest son started high school, and we're just thinking about the next few years that we have with him and getting trying to be intentional about like what each year means and what we do with each year. Same for my fifth grader and same for myself and my husband. And so I'm excited to begin today. And this leads me to my first month. This first month of the 9-month, I don't know, my assistant called it an adventure. And I liked that too, a 9-month adventure, 9-month challenge. 9 months to your most loved self. The first theme that we're going to focus on for September is vision. And when I say vision, I mean having a vision for your life. Having a vision for your life is the most important place to start if you want to change your life. And I always tell this story. If you've listened to this podcast before, you've heard it 100 times, but I was so deeply stuck in depression and anxiety, and I was in trauma therapy. And there were so many beautiful things that I learned about trauma therapy, but, about trauma and how it affects the body. There were so many things that I needed to know about what was happening to me biologically and physiologically and mentally and emotionally because of what I hadn't dealt with from my past. That was really important. But there came a point when I was more kind of circling around Pain Mountain, I always say, instead of like actually moving forward. And it wasn't until I read a question in a book that asked, what are 10 things you want to say are true about your life 10 years from now, that my life actually changed. And every morning I would write down the answer to that question as if it were present day. Like, I am living here. James and I are blah, blah, blah. James is my husband. I am healthy in these ways. My kids and I have this kind of relationship. Health goals, financial goals, friendship goals, where we wanted to live goals. Music goals. Like, I wrote down 10 things I wanted to say were true about my life 10 years from now. And I'm living in that list currently. So that was 5 years ago that I started writing down that list. And there are still some things that are waiting to expand even further. But for the most part, that is the life that I have now. And we're going to talk about manifesting because I know a lot of people come to me from Christianity. I'm Christian. I'm a worship leader, probably a post-deconstructed, reconstructed worship leader. So I don't have any problem with manifesting. We're manifesting all the time. Manifesting just means to pull into reality what you have in your heart and your brain. I think it's a biblical concept if you're interested, but I also think it's like we should know enough now to look at our own lives and see that that's obviously true. I want to talk more about that in the future. But today I just want to say you can create your reality. And if you don't, your reality will be created for you based on what your nervous system thinks is safe, which is based on all of the things that have happened to you in the past, based on your patterns, based on your coping, based on what you think will keep you from being seen or known or whatever else feels scary for you. And I think what you'll find is without a vision, you don't love the results. You feel really out of control, like life is happening to you. You're not happening to your life. And that's what vision does. One of my favorite stories. It clarifies where you're going. Art of Possibility. And it also the author, the North Star, when Rosamund Zander, she talks about how she went whitewater rafting. Will, and when she was getting on the boat, the instructor went over and over and over and over the idea that if you fall off the boat, don't drag your feet against the bottom because your foot could get caught on a rock. And the second thing was always look for the boat. We will come to you. So the two like shorthand phrases for that was like toes on the nose and look for the boat. And she said that the instructor said that so many times that she wondered if there were like people that couldn't hear on the boat or like people that weren't listening or didn't get it so many times. And the very first wall of water that they hit, Rosamund fell out of the boat. And she said for that time, there was no air, there was no water, there was no light, there was no dark. There was only me, like in a full survival mode. I had no idea what to do. I couldn't think of anything. And then all of a sudden I just remembered toes on the nose. So she like curled up into a ball and she remembered, look for the boat. And so she finally got a little bit of air and she just like looked for the boat and started swimming towards the boat, and the boat came and got her. Toes on the nose, look for the boat. The reason why she gave that illustration was because she says we can have these phrases or these sort of North Star principles that are the things when the water hits, when you get knocked out of the boat of your life, you repeat them to yourself. You can hold on to them, and they are going to be a North Star to hold on to while you're waiting either for the next right decision, or you're waiting on the next thing that you need to do, or you're bravely taking the next step forward. Remembering your vision is the guiding light. It is the thing that will help you through the reveal of every new dysfunctional pattern that you have. It's the thing that will help you navigate every relationship pitfall. Remembering your vision is essential. And it's the phrase that I would say, you know, for this month, your own out of the boat phrase is going to be, what's my vision? What is the vision that I have for my life? There's a Bible verse that says the people perish without vision. And I know what it's like to feel like I'm perishing. And maybe you do too. It was vision. It was the vision that I started writing down for my own life that helped me move forward, because as soon as I clarified what my vision was, I could see what was in the way of me actually embodying that person that I wanted to become. It was really hard when I was like drowning in trauma and anxiety and pain, which did not let up the minute that I clarified my vision. It was still there. It was still happening. But because I knew where I wanted to go, I began to see like, oh, this belief doesn't match the belief that that version of me would have. This coping pattern actually doesn't belong in the life that I'm trying to lead. So maybe I should get to the root of what this coping pattern is actually about. The way that I'm interacting with the relationships in my life are not the version of me that I want to be, are not the friend that I want to be. And I think that like understanding that vision is the bridge between who you are and where you want to go. And make no mistake, you're gonna go if you don't have a vision, but the place that you'll end up most likely will not be anything like what you actually hope for, what you actually want, who you authentically are, and what you're authentically called to. Vision is what does that. Having a vision for your life. I've said that so many times. So sorry. But I just really want to reiterate how important that is. There are a few reasons why, besides everything I said, it's important to have a vision. I think one of the most important reasons to have a clear vision for what you want to do is to be able to live from your values. We'll get into parts work in, September, October, November. We'll get into kind of understanding why we do some of the things that we do and how to deal with that. But the truth is, there are a lot of parts of me that do not care about my values at all. They do not care if I eat healthy. They do not care when I'm triggered if I get along with my husband. They don't care when somebody hurts my feelings that I want to be a person that is grounded in grace and love and connection. They don't care. Parts of me do not care. And those parts will take us over so quickly when we're triggered. If we don't know what our values are, and if we don't have an idea of the kind of life that we want to live that is like rooted in our values, then we will feel like we're a million different people in one to start, and we'll act out of all kinds of things that actually don't serve us, don't serve the people around us. And we were made to contribute. We were made to contribute to the world around us. So understanding that like having a vision for your life allows you to live from the things that are deeply important to you, because you can recognize that even if you don't feel like living that way in the moment, that is ultimately who you want to become, is essential. Another reason why it's super helpful to have a vision for your life is because it gives you motivation and energy. So the thing about designing your vision, which we'll talk about at the end a little bit, is that when you begin to think about who do I hope that I am? Who do I actually want to be? When you start really thinking about that and clarifying that, it is coming from your regulated self, meaning the best time to design your vision is when you feel safe in your body, when you feel settled, you feel peaceful, you feel inspired. And really important, when you feel inspired, that's a really beautiful time to get clear on your vision. Because inspiration kind of bypasses all of the like daily triggers and pain points that we experience, and it like allows our nervous system to have a break and think about what a different kind of future could be. So inspiration is really important. When you are creating that vision from a settled, authentic, it's technically a ventral state, which means that your nervous system is relaxed and you feel good in your body. Then when you don't feel that way and you don't feel like doing some of the things, the habits that your future self, so to speak, your most loved self would have, it is so energizing to look at the things that you want to be, the things that you want to do with your life, especially if you can see other people that are doing the same thing. And it gives you this energy of like, okay, that's right. I'm doing this for a reason. I'm doing this for a purpose. This is good work that I'm choosing to do. So motivation and energy kind of naturally just come from your clarified idea of the kind of life that you want to have. And like revisiting it is essential. I wrote my list down. I told you guys already. I wrote my list down like, I don't even know, like 2 years in a row. And I still have those notebooks. I remember hearing a story that Donald Miller wrote his obituary, his own his like ideal obituary, and reads it every single day. I think he also writes down the things that he wants to say are true, or another way to say that would be the things that he wants to accomplish in like 6 months, 1 year, and 5 years every single day. Revisiting your list gives you the motivation to keep moving towards that list or that vision. That leads me to the next point, which is that it creates resilience. There is nothing like the momentum of realizing, oh my God, this is happening. This is like, actually, this is happening. I'm doing this. And you won't see it for a while. You just won't, because if you are steeped in anxiety and stuck in patterns of like high highs and low lows, and you feel like you're just treading water, beginning the unglamorous task of building habits around the vision that you want to create for your life feels like pennies on the dollar. It's like nothing. But man, does that momentum start to build and build and build once you sort of look back and realize, oh my gosh, I've climbed half this mountain. I'm halfway there. I'm getting to the place that I want to go. For creatives, this is especially important because we tend to be more sensitive, more emotional, and art is tricky to create when we have so many different states that we experience, maybe more than the average person. I always compare myself to my husband because he is not that kind of creative, sensitive. He's deeply creative because all humans are, but not in the way that I am, where I'm crying at commercials and I'm like imagining 1,000 things that I want to do, and I'm dreaming way, way, way into the future, and then I'm thinking way, way, way into the past. I'm nostalgic and I'm sensitive and I hug everybody all the time. Creatives tend to be more on that side. And when you don't feel like doing something, it can feel like self-betrayal to do it anyways. When you have a vision, though, you know that it is in service of you creating the life that you're here to live. That kind of resilience comes from committing to your vision and from pushing. I don't want to say only pushing through, because compassion is really essential for when you don't feel like doing those things. But moving through the blocks and healing what's in the way, which is very unglamorous work, creates this kind of resilience that makes you, it's this indestructible, like, I know that I can, and I know that I'm okay no matter what. So resilience is another reason why having a vision is essential. It builds that in you. I think the other thing, and I've been thinking a little bit more wistfully about this because I am, um, be, I don't feel old actually at all. I'm 41. I feel like my life's just starting. I think it's a good time for 40 somethings. I can't even believe I ever was afraid to like be a middle-aged woman. It's like the absolute best thing ever. But what has made me think about my life more and life in general is my son getting ready to, well, he's starting high school. So he has a few years left. And I'm like, wait, what? Where did the time go? And then I'm thinking about what's going to happen after that. And then, you can just kind of stumble into like, wow, like, what is my legacy? That's been the point. I'm so sorry of me explaining all of this to you about time and being a middle-aged woman and my son, is that I've been thinking about legacy. I've been thinking about what do I want to leave behind. It is a biological imperative to, like I said, to contribute to the people around you. It's what you're here to do. We were made to feel like we are connected to the past and the future. And so thinking about the kind of legacy that you want to lead, the kind of example that you want to be, even if nobody ever knows who you are, um, is really important and really beautiful work. And um, having a vision for your life helps connect you to the legacy that you want to leave, because you're not just letting life happen to you. You're not just living from your pain points. Um, you're not staying stuck. You're getting out of the victim mentality that so many of us find ourselves in, even without trying. I think victim mentality has such a negative connotation, but really, like, we've all felt like victims because in a way we are victims of victims. We, as kids, couldn't do this work. And so as adults, it's easy to feel like that kid inside. But the truth is, we are adults. We can create the lives that we want. And we can think about what, like Donald Miller, his reading his obituary every single day. Like, what is the legacy that I want to leave behind with this vision that I'm creating for my life? So if you want to know where to start with creating your own vision, um, the question that I asked in the beginning of this podcast, or the question that I said that I asked myself, was, what are 10 things I'd like to say are true about my life 10 years from now? It's a question I first heard Rachel Hollis ask. It legitimately changed my entire life. I don't know. That's why I didn't know that I could design my own life. I don't think I was raised in a culture where that was like normalized language or modeled for me. And I think that a lot of what's happening even now in social media and how we're all so connected to each other gives us the ability to see all of the options out there, which can be a good thing and a bad thing, because there's also a psychological principle that says the more options you have, the less happy you feel. But the flip side of that is the more options that you have, the more possibility you have for your own life. And you're going to have to do some digging and some connection to self to figure out, okay, if anything is possible, what do I want to say is true about me? What feels true for me? As far as, what I want to say I created with my life. So asking, what are 10 things I'd love to say are true about my life 10 years from now? Oh, I have a meditation that walks you through looking at the 10 areas of your life and imagining them 10 years into the future and what the best case scenario for each of those 10 things are on a product that you can buy. It's $37. It's called the Daily Practice Design Guide. And you can find it on my website at courtneylancaster.co, C-O at the end. That's a great place to start. If you need somebody to walk you through that process of like really thinking about what are 10 things that I want to say are true. Another place to start, I talk about this all the time, is inspiration. Paying attention to what inspires you is an excellent way to see your own potential. I heard Mastin Kipp say that one time, that people inspire you because they embody your potential. And that kind of led me to create this sort of signature process that I do with every single client that I've ever had, which is sitting down and making a list of who inspires you. This is actually a free PDF, by the way. If you sign up for my newsletter, I'll send you this as well. What are 10 things? I'm sorry. Who are the people that inspire you and why? And if you really get down to the why, what you'll see is that you have written down a list of who you authentically are underneath what Lacey Phillips would say is your pain, shame, and programming. And so inspiration is such a powerful way back home. What lights you up leads you home. And paying attention to it and really getting super curious about why people inspire you, why different people's lives and choices like excite you or light you up is so essential, because for many of us who feel like they lost their way or feel like we don't feel connected to ourselves, feel like we don't know who we authentically are, it's tricky to even know like where to start. And inspiration would always be the place that I would have anyone start. Who inspires you and why? So those are both great places to start for creating a vision for your life, as well as tracking with me on social media. So I am at Courtney Lan on Instagram. It's Courtney Lan. And every day I'll be sharing or talking about something to do with vision for the month of September. I really, really want to help you guys get super clear on who you're becoming. And I had somebody say, I posted some picture from the summer and they were like kind of joking, kind of teasing. And they're like, well, must be nice. And I was almost like, wait, what did you say? It must be nice. Like, as in, like this came easy for me? Like, does this look like a beautiful life to you? Do you think that was easy for me? Because I realized like it was like such a full circle moment. I think I was on the other side saying that for years. Must be nice. Must be nice. You just get to do whatever you want and live however you want. And make no mistake, I don't know why I keep saying that. Make no mistake. That's such a dramatic way to say that. Don't be fooled. That's also dramatic. I show up every day, and it's hard and I get triggered all the time. And I am so sensitive and I worry about hurting people's feelings. And I think about what other people think about me. And I don't follow my healthy habits all the time. And sometimes I feel lost, but I am so oriented to who I authentically am now that every time that happens to me, it feels like an opportunity to just get to know myself better, to show up for myself, to have compassion. And that took a lot of work, but it's the work that's available to all of us. And I also want to caveat and say there are a lot of privileges that I am aware of, but I do think that we all have choices and are able to move forward in whatever way we feel called to move forward. So must be nice. Yeah. You know what? It is really nice to not be stuck in anxiety and depression anymore. And it really is nice to live in a life that I only hoped from the darkest chapter of my life could ever be true for me. And I share all this to say, I know that this is possible. I know that it's possible to love yourself, most importantly, and to love your life. That is why I called it the Most Loved Self Challenge and not your Best Self Challenge. Because your best self comes and goes. I'm hardly ever my best self. What does that even mean? I think trying to be my best self was part of what contributed to me feeling so stuck and depressed. But when I started to love absolutely everything that came up in pursuit of me healing and living the life that I actually knew I was called to live and serve in the ways that I was called to serve, that was the place that I could really build something really incredible. And so I'm excited to share as much as I can with you and to continue to grow myself right alongside you. As always, if you want to work with me, I do take one-on-one clients. I'm also on Instagram at Courtney Lan, and you can sign up for my newsletter if you'd like as well. On my website, CourtneyLancaster.co. I love you guys. I am so freaking stoked for this 9 months. And if you have any questions, anything that you want to add or call me out on, you can email me. courtneyandhart@gmail.com. I hope you have a wonderful September, and I will see you next week.